Thank you, everyone. Here we are looking outside. Now, what is it do you like to do outside, and why do we go there? Because we not only recreate, but we have health and wellness, we have spiritual renewal. Outdoors is a wonderful place for us. And here in Edmonton, we've got a terrific river valley. But if you look at the map, 50 years ago, the yellow central areas were the urban parts. 50 years later, we had expanded to the orange. In 50 years' time, 2057, if we only expand at 3.5%, that's what we would cover with concrete. So what is a land trust? The Edmonton and Area Land Trust is a conservancy. We look after, we secure land in the interests of the public and the environment and the wildlife. This is Larch Sanctuary, which is one of our conservation easements right in the city of Edmonton. We steward the land with fabulous volunteers. If anybody likes getting outside, wrapping up the wildlife unfriendly wire that you see there, we removed 40 kilometers of that wire in the last 10 years of our existence, trail maintenance and everything. So we do a lot, and we have 12 properties, which you can see here. Edmonton, this is the Elk Island, over there is Wabamun, but it's getting increasingly fragmented. We have the most fragmented ecoregion in Alberta. So where we work is pretty well within the 50-kilometer circle that you see there. And if you can see the tiny red star in the northeast, that's the very precious land that I want to let you know about if you haven't heard about it already. See the big loop in the river valley? The two parcels within the black lines are owned by a gentleman which has the largest old-growth forest in Edmonton and two city forests at either side. The river sweeps around, and the farmlands are wonderful. There's a microclimate there. There's really precious floodplain soils. 233 acres is a quarter and a half, if you can relate to that. So this land is one that he feels has rights in its own self and wants to have it conserved forever. This is the old growth forest. The visitors have allowed us to take interpretive tours there, and the forest provides homes for creatures. When it's old growth, they find that they can have quiet, peaceful place in seclusion in the old growth. These trees are over 100 years old. They're about 30 inches in diameter. This type of habitat gives rise to not only many species, but also certain ones that are at risk, species at risk you might have heard of. This barred owl is typical of some of the creatures that have been found in that place. And the trees decay into the ground, enriching the soil. It is one of three places in the river between Wabamun and Smoky Lake that are considered sturgeon holes or habitats. That curve in the river is one of three. And these are not sturgeon, but it's a really important habitat for them. It has had stone implements and arrowheads found there and been used, obviously, for millennia. The visitors allow the Native Healing Center to use it. There are ceremonies and sweats. The ag lands are so fertile. They provide fruit, they provide vegetables, I should say, for farmers' markets, and they grow about 20 different types of vegetables, and that gives us food security right here in Edmonton, one of the last urban farms. This is Lady Flower Gardens. It's a social justice site where community groups that are underprivileged, newcomer groups, get to have contact with the soil, the real stuff, weed it, and then share in the harvest. There's always food bank trucks going and picking up the harvest. So the people who participate get about a fifth of the produce, but the rest is given to the mustard seed and the Bissell Center and all kinds of agencies, about 12 of them, downtown. So they are sharing their bounty with the community. There's a research center which is looking at birds. By researching these creatures, there's monitoring taking place. And that's how we know there are species at risk so unlikely to be in Edmonton, actually there. So why is it precious? Food security, indigenous traditions there, social justice, and agricultural lands, and then the tremendous forest. Old growth, the largest old growth forest in the city. Why hasn't it happened? Because every land securement requires funds. We were turned down by the provincial government last year on the basis that we were unlikely to have species at risk, so we went out and found them this summer, and we've applied again. But we need to have a fund to help with ag land conservation, because there is nothing for that. Conservation is about a community. You can all help. You can support. You can advocate. You can go out and volunteer and enjoy some of the lands. It takes a community to build conservation and share, as these folks have done with their community. Thank you.